Hashtag PowerForce lives. This hashtag was a kind of a brainchild between myself, Toku Chris of Toku Nation, Jay of Morphin Legacy, Eric Trekkie B47 from Ranger Command Power Hour, and Hassan Ahmed from the World of Ha. And we were all talking in a group chat that actually kind of stemmed from complaining about some certain things that were going on in the community over the past couple days. And Jay thought of the hashtag, and he let it out there in the wild, and then we kind of followed suit. And we were not expecting the hashtag to completely explode on Friday. On Friday, we hit almost, it might have actually hit at almost 400 tweets over the course of the day, which completely outpaced the actual hashtag Power Rangers by about double. And that is, it's incredible to kind of see this little spark that you helped ignite just kind of go everywhere. And during Friday, and even a little bit today, I'm recording this on Saturday, there's a lot of confusion behind things, because when things happen in this community, and drama happens in this community a lot, people always are very quick to jump and assume something happened. And in this case, nothing happened, and that was the problem that we had. Nothing is happening in this franchise. A lot of things are moving, but nothing is happening. And that is the issue we had. Back in 2012, I believe. Back in 2012, Saban, to kind of gear up for the 20th anniversary of the franchise, decided to build what they called Power Force. And this was a group of 20-ish, I forgot what their actual final number was once they brought everybody on. 20 people that they deemed super fans that would, I don't even know what their actual original intent was with Power Force. But it was kind of to kind of put these certain people as leaders in the community to mostly advertise. Let's be real, their intent for a majority of this was simply to advertise. And which is fine, don't get me wrong, but when you have a group of dedicated hardcore fans that want nothing but to see this franchise succeed, what they amounted to was kind of upsetting. I mean, granted, the original Power Force did a lot more than we ever did. They got to do the Trivial Pursuit game, which unfortunately was still riddled with errors, mostly because of all of the questions that weren't provided by actual Power Force members. Among mistakes on the Monopoly board, which could have easily been fixed if they had just shown people first. And that's really what a lot of this stemmed into during our discussion, was just frustration that Saban wanted to put these people in positions to where they could help better the franchise. And they ultimately didn't do anything. By the time the second group was brought on in 2014, I think my timeline might be a little bit off on this, for about a little bit before Dino Charge started. It was during Super Mega Force that they brought new people on, which is when I joined. At that point, we didn't do anything significant. We advertised some things that we got emailed. We put up episode stills and all that. We were contacted about RangerNation.com, and that ultimately ended up nowhere until we got to where we're at right now with RangerNation.com. And so it just stemmed from a bunch of frustration that you want to put this team together of people that you deemed super fans, and then ultimately just use them for advertising monkeys. And it was really frustrating, especially once this new RangerNation.com launched on Thursday. And it, too, as per normal, was riddled with errors. And I think a lot of this problem is with just how the Power Force was presented in the first place. Power Force was presented as this, like, elite team of fans. And so when you weren't picked for it, you felt like for some reason you were considered lesser of a fan than these guys. And I understand that. I didn't get into the first wave of Power Force, and I felt that. I was under the impression that as someone who did a weekly podcast about Tokusatsu and continuously did reviews on Power Ranger products and Super Sentai products, that I felt like I had, quote, earned my place, and they didn't deem that to be the case. And I, as much as I wanted to kind of give the aura that I didn't give a crap, I did. It hurt a little bit that they hadn't considered me, and eventually I did get in, and I joined under the preface that we were going to matter to this, that it was my opportunity to join this team that could help better the fandom and help better the franchise by helping and promoting and hopefully being able to work with Saban to do these cool fandom orientated things, and then nothing happened. And it's frustrating as hell, dude, to want to do all this and not have that ability. And that's ultimately what led to this discussion that we had, and it's ultimately what led to Power Force Lives, because there was such a negative stigma about Power Force, that we were elitists, and we were acting like we were better than everybody else. And I'm not going to say some people in the group might have been guilty of that. I don't keep track of everybody in Power Force. I don't even talk to half the people in Power Force. But basically, like, they kicked a majority of the Power Force to the side. They gave preferential treatment to a couple people that were a little bit more local, that they could actually do more physical things with, and kind of pushed everyone else to the wayside. And so we were just really frustrated about it, and that's where Power Force Lives came from, because Power Force Lives is meant to shed that negative connotation of the Power Force, because everybody in this fandom matters in some way, shape, or form. There's no person in this fandom that I feel should have more weight than other people in this fandom to an extent. I mean, this is a franchise that is built around teamwork and positivity, working together. Working together and teamwork is the same thing. But, like, that's the foundation of Power Rangers, is teamwork and acceptance and equality and unity. And the way that the fandom has been right now is everything but that. The entire concept of Power Force put a ripple between the people that had the reach to do something, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and the people who felt like they weren't enough. And that should have never happened. That rift should have never been there. And with the show being how it is, there's a couple people out there in, like, the Twitterverse and stuff that absolutely enjoy Ninja Steel. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy that the show can still be a bright spot for people's weeks. when it's new. But for a majority of the fandom, we want more out of the show. We want more quality shows like In Space, I guess, and Time Force and RPM. And for me personally, the magic that the Disney era had with SPD and Mystic Force and Dino Thunder and Ninja Storm, all those seasons are some of my top favorite seasons. And since taking over the franchise, Saban Brands has never been able to capture that feel for me. And Bandai America, the Ninja Steel toy line, is arguably one of the worst Power Ranger toy lines we've gotten since probably Overdrive, because Overdrive was... But despite that, we had the Legacy line, and now the Legacy figure line is riddled with Gold Rangers that aren't gold, and Zeo Rangers that have that same not gold on them, and distribution problems, and the girl figures are nowhere to be found, and all this. And so now even the glimmer of hope that Bandai America had with the Legacy line is kind of gone, and everyone is frustrated with Bandai America, everyone's frustrated with Saban, and everyone kind of feels powerless to help. And Power Force Lives is about that feeling of being powerless, because we're not powerless. If Power Rangers has taught anybody anything, it's that no matter who they are, they have the ability to achieve. They have the ability to be powerful. And that's what this entire hashtag movement was about and is about. And I'm very much hoping that it can continue throughout the entirety of this year. This year is the 25th anniversary of Power Rangers. This year is the year for us. This is the year where we shouldn't ever feel like this franchise is dead, this franchise is dying, everything sucks, Saban sucks, Bandai sucks. And you're 100% correct. The state that we're in right now, Bandai America does pretty much suck. Saban Brands does pretty much suck. Everything kind of sucks. But there is glimmers of hope in our franchise right now. There is the Boom Studios comics, which are incredible, and I can't wait to actually start talking about them on this channel in kind of a audio review format, because oh my god, they're so good. Hyperforce is not everybody's cup of tea. 3 hours to watch a bunch of people play an RPG is very time consuming, and it, again, is not everyone's cup of tea. But as someone who likes to do tabletop RPGs, perfect. The cast is great, the story is interwoven throughout Ranger history, and it's also great, and everything about it is great. But again, not everyone's cup of tea, but I hope everyone that writes off the series can at least say that what they're doing is amazing, because it is. There are glimmers of hope. Just because our main show is kind of not good, and our main toy line is kind of not good, it doesn't mean that there isn't things to celebrate. This franchise has 25 years behind it. There is not that many franchises out there that can say that they have 25 years of history behind it, and concurrently going. Like, there's a bunch of franchises out there that have kind of like happened, long break, happened, long break. TMNT comes to mind. A very huge franchise that always comes in kind of spurts. It wasn't a huge, consistent thing. I think the comics have been fairly consistent, but I don't keep up with those enough to fully know. But television show-wise, it more or less has came in some pretty weird spurts. But that one comes to mind. Like, this is a continuous string of shows and toys since 1993, and I think that is alone something that is worth celebrating. We have seasons out there for everybody, and that alone, again, is worth celebrating. There is something to be happy about in this fandom. And Power Force Lives is by no means about accepting the trash state of everything Power Rangers right now, but it's less that and more thinking back on the reasons you love this franchise. For me, it's the unity. It is all of the friends that I have made throughout this fandom that I can talk to on a daily basis through Facebook and through Twitter, and to podcast with every month, and to play games with online, and hopefully one day actually play a round of Hyperforce should it ever actually exist in a retail format. There's so much to be thankful for in this fandom, and that is why I love it so incredibly much. And it physically hurts sometimes to see something that you love so dearly just be in such a state of trashyhood. And that's what this hashtag is about. This hashtag is about bringing everybody together, treating everybody right. That's a lot of issues with this fandom as well, and I think that's an issue with a lot of fandoms as a whole. You're gonna find people that are just people that are dicks. To put it bluntly, and that's gonna happen. But even so, there's so many great, talented people in this community that we are Power Force. Power Force is more than one person, two person, three people, 20 people. It doesn't matter. Power Force is more than just a group of people. Power Force is everybody. Power Force, to me, was a group of people that were brought together to better this fandom and better this franchise. And that is more than just that group of people. This is everybody. This is you and you and you and you and you back there and you all the way at the exit door in this proverbial stadium of discussion. This is everybody, and that's what Power Force Lives is about. Power Force Lives is sharing your story. Power Force Lives is sharing your reviews and your podcasts and your artwork and your fan fiction and your cosplay and whatever it may be, your toy collection, your toy galleries. It doesn't matter. Power Force Lives is celebration. Power Force Lives is unity and togetherness and acceptance and joy. And joy is something that I think this fandom very much needs right about now. In a state where the show's not that good and the toys aren't that good, there's still a lot to enjoy. And that's what this is about. So, as always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great one. And Power Force Lives.